Miss Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Miss Universe podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Miss Universe podcast.
Hello and welcome to Emma's podcast. I'm sorry. So it's a good sign when people are laughing. I am always laughing. Most of the time I'm laughing. So in today's podcast, my pops are having an argument outside. So I'm laughing because they're ready to rumble. And they are rumbling actually. So let's talk about our topic for our Wednesday talk. It's healing in the middle, rebuilding when you are not at the start or the end. And that is so true because often we talked about the beginning of healing when everything falls apart, or the end when we finally feel whole again. But what's about the middle? And we're going to be talking about this and those who are quietly holding it together in the in between. You've survived the storm, but the sky isn't clear yet, and you're not who you were, but you are unsure of who you're becoming. So let's explore what healing looks like when the adrenal has worn off and the hard internal work begins. It's about waking up and choosing to try again without a clear roadmap. And we're going to be talking about the emotional toll of uncertainty and why it's the hardest part to talk about. Because when your world collapsed, literally obliterated, and you now have lost everything. It could be a relationship, it could be everything. It could be a fire taking everything out. You just have to. I'm laughing because I went through it, okay? I'm laughing because I made it out. And at the end of the day, you have to light it up. So it's not fun to lose everything, but it's very interesting when, in the process of losing everything, you become the observer. You're observing and witnessing what the universe has in store for you. You're not interfering or anything like that. Is becoming the observer. And I think one of the biggest exercises we have to do in life is to learn to become an observer in our lives. We can use that to monitor where we are, how things are changing and evolving. But when you lose everything, your first step is to try to put yourself back together. Remember, the universe will and God will tear us apart to rebuild us in a different way. Sounds easy to say when you're out of the storm, but been there, done that. So the uncertainty, one of the biggest things when you're looking at healing and the direction we're taking is, where am I going to go from here? What am I going to do? And a lot of people are not talking about it. And this is where you're spiraling down because uncertainty is the unknown. The unknown is something that most people are not accustomed to it. Some, you can see the maverick. You can see people who are creating business left and right. There seems, I would say, the warrior, the invincible, the one who you're looking at them, you're admiring them or envy them, hopefully not, or hate them, because those people just go into the unknown and thrive compared to people who have been conditioning to the routine. But when your routine is blown to pieces, this is where you have the opportunity to start to heal, to put yourself back together one step at a time. Looking at the overall pictures, it's like a war zone. And the question is do you want to still see the big picture, or are you going to start to focus on what is your next step? Trying to see the bigger pictures is something that really can overwhelm everyone. Actually, your brain's going to shut off at some point to protect you and not go on overload. And it's just one day at a time. It's not what I'm going to do in 2 weeks, it's what I'm going to do now. And we'll figure it out tomorrow what's next. But it's really learning to, instead than looking at, again at that overall picture, is to narrow it down like a cake. I always use this. I like cakes, I like food, so I always use this analogy where you have a piece of cake in a plate, and how you're gonna eat it. Are you gonna eat it from the tip of the cake, the piece of cake, or the crust? Are you gonna take it off the top and just eat the crust first? Are you gonna eat it all? How are you gonna eat it? The healing process and the emotional toll that it takes of the uncertainty is frightening. But there is one thing we got, is hope and faith. And that's something that helps us. Having gone through the abyss of darkness, I have seen my light, faith, hope, that light of hope. Because what gets us every day to the next day, actually, and most people don't realize this, is hope. That light is hope. And when hope is gone, then you don't want to continue to move forward in your life. Now, you have to process the emotional toll. You're gonna have to go through the ups and downs, through the stress of what's coming tomorrow. And again, look at the smaller step on the front of you. Don't look up at everything else. Just what you gotta do. And keep it as small as you can so you can digest it, process it, and move forward. And again, not everything is going to be processed at the same speed. That's something that people don't understand. And it's one thing at a time, one step at a time, and you take how long it takes for you to do it. The healing process is not a 15 minutes. Even a year and a half passed. We're close to 2 years in a few months, when the condo went into flames and drawn into the water, the gallons and gallons of water. I can still see my shoes outside. It's like, it looks so bad. I'm like, holy crap. But you have to realize that it's a time to restart our lives. It is a time where you're done with this cycle. So as brutal that it can be, and where we are to where we need to be, the cycle is going to stop. Some go very, quietly, very nice ending, and some are brutal endings. And you have to realize now the old self is gone. Now you need to look forward and being able to heal into that process, the healing time you're going to need, and to take it a day at a time in order to be on solid ground. Uncertainty, unknown, is our friend. It's not the enemies. We have been taught that unknown is scary. Actually, it's the best thing ever, because the unknown brings us blessing in disguise. And that's being able to really embrace who we truly are. It's working on ourselves. I had the great help, actually, of somebody that was last year. Yes, it was. I had it for what, a year, less than a year, actually. Did we? It was about a year when I realized during the healing process I could not do everything. It came to the point that it was too much, and I've learned. And I was speaking with somebody actually earlier this week about my story, and we talked about challenges. So I share my story, and she was amazed. And I'm like, don't ask on this one, but I said, you have to recognize when you need help. And for somebody who grew up to be self-reliant, self-sufficient, this is how we grew up because we were segregated, blah, blah, blah. So we learned, and I learned to deal with all of the crap, the challenges, the emotional toll until that point, because that was like, welcome to hell, Emma. You're going to go down, and we're going to show you the abyss of darkness, and you're not going to like it for 5 minutes, but this is your challenge. But it's being able to recognize I need the help of somebody to be my sounding board. And I want a professional to do it, because the professional will help you actually. They will be neutral. And I would say I never, well, when we were a kid, we were forced to do it. So, but when you have somebody that is a professional person and you can talk, this is what I did with him actually. Michael, I was Dr. Michael. I was talking to him. I said, I need a sounding board. I need to sort out my shit, but I need a sounding board because I cannot do it myself. And we had a session every couple weeks, something like that, for 45 minutes, something like that. So I had to cram jam what needed to be done. And it was one item at a time. What do I need to deal with first? And this is how I moved forward. It's learning to say, okay, I need to deal with this healing first. I need to deal with this situation. Understanding the situation as I was speaking, having his feedback as well, because he wasn't telling me what to do at the end of the day. He was the sounding board and the word of wisdom. And we did, and I went through the process with him to talk to him, to unload everything I had to unload, one situation at a time. But in the meantime, I was working on my own as well. And he was giving me feedback. He was giving me, did he give me techniques? He might have given me techniques, but it was just being able to be heard and have that anchor, that temporary anchor as I was going through the process of healing. When you do this, you're becoming emotional for some people. You can be empowered, but it's helping you to have an anchor, a rock in the middle of the storm where you're rebuilding your life. So that to me was essential. And a lot of people are using quote unquote therapists to do this. And to me, it was one of the major key you could ever have for moving forward, for the healing process. But the first step is to recognize when you need help. That's what probably the hardest things for people to do. But for me, at that point, I knew it. And I listened to myself. I was aware of it. The awareness was there. And it was like, what can I do to get that help? Just a sounding board. It's not the end of the world. And I would say that I've never been through my entire life, except when I was a kid, because we were forced to do it. A therapist when we were kids. It was like, what the freak? I don't even know why as a kid we did, except we realized because we kind of trapped that guy. I have to share this one, so it's funny. My sister and I were going once a week or something like that. I don't remember. Was it once a week or something like that? At least. It was our general doctor, but somehow he became a therapist at the same time too. And we were sitting down and we had to tell him what was wrong, which I had no idea what was wrong actually. We were young. We were under 10 years old. However, we're not stupid. That was mommy's mistake on this one. Mommy Dearest made the biggest mistake ever. So we realized that, you're supposed to feel safe. You're supposed to share what you wanted to share. But every time we went over there and we noticed that when we went back in the car, Mommy Dearest was pissed off like hell and would scream and yell at us. And we went and talked to each other, the three of us. And I said, okay, he's telling every single thing we're saying, he's telling back to her because she's pissed off now. So we trapped him. We did. We went to one of the sessions. We lied, actually. So we entrapped him. Imagine you get 3 kids under the age of 10 who's going to entrap the doctor. We did. She came back. She was pissed off. And I'm like, yeah. So from that point on, because we needed the proof. We needed the concrete proof. We said nothing to that guy at all. And every time we got him in the office, something wrong? No, we're good. No problem. No, we're good. And we kept quiet. But that was one thing we did as a kid. And imagine it was in the 70s, people, okay? I will always remember that day. Oh, good Lord. She was even more mad because we added some crap to it that didn't make any sense. But we had the proof that he was telling her everything. And she got so riled up. Oh my God. We were traumatized, but we did not care. We were laughing at the end because I remember we were laughing. It's like, yeah, we got you, dude. So we kept our mouth shut, and it never had um, any more stories to tell, because I think that ended the thing, because at the end we were not talking. So that ended those sessions. But we were going over there once a month. Yeah, I don't remember. It was a Saturday. So it might have been once a week or every couple of weeks or whatever the deal was. But it was at least once a month. So we got him pinned against the wall. It's like, you do not outsmart kids, because kids are not stupid. We are not stupid, but we got him on this one. So back to 2023, 2024. So going through the process of healing, it's really having somebody neutral, and it helps to have somebody that doesn't have any attachment or ties to a person. And it was for me, it was extremely helpful. It was being in agreement. It's not in agreement, but being free of saying anything I wanted to say. So, and dealing with anything from what was happening in 2023 to going back to, you can go back to your childhood or whatever was needed, necessary to heal. Like, again, you're peeling that onions. So this is one thing. The other thing is learning to set your boundaries while rebuilding your life. Again, when you're in a process of healing, you need to leave your boundaries up, because how many people are going to come into your life then and going to start to, again, crush everything around, not respecting your time to heal. So setting up your boundaries are essential, because people, out of the goodness of their heart or not, will come and cross those boundaries. So it is important for your own health, for your own self, to keep those boundaries up and make it in a way that if people understand the healing process, they will respect that. The people who don't, then it's time for them to go. That is something you will realize. This is one of the phases of the part of the healing that you're going to start to see who's for your highest good and who's not. And I would say sometime you will clear up your entire, friends and people that are close to you. You will. Some will go to the extreme where everything is gone, and some few people needs to be removed. The other thing that helps a lot is having a daily practice to stay steady and present. So I used a lot of meditation music. You can go on YouTube actually, and you do have some positive quotes. You have a lot of things that you can utilize every day. Your favorite music. If you love some specific music, then play that music for yourself. So this is part of your daily practice to help you to stay steady. Again, it's not a race, okay? When I lost Jay, I was in a relationship, and that individual said, after an hour, then I learned that Jay, my bro, passed away. Say up to my face, get over it. I knew Jay for over 20 plus years. He was my brother. He was my family. He was my rock. So when somebody said that to you, and you're like, okay, then that's a problem. That's a red flag. So at the end of the day, you have to ensure that the people who want to rush you to do healing, or you lost somebody, you lost a pet, you lost a job, you lost something, or you entirely lost everything, the people that will pressure you to get over it, then those people needs to be out of your life. This is where, at the time of healing, you understand that we all heal at a different pace. Some people will take years to heal. Some people will take 15 minutes to heal. It's not based on what people say, it's based on what you need to do. Now, there is a very fine line on the healing process and be a victim, because some people will be complacent in a victimhood. And that's something you need to realize. Am I a victim or am I healing? Because if I want to play the victim, then I'm going to drag everybody else's into that black hole. That is a distraction. It's not going to help you. Or am I doing this for healing? And you will recognize if you like to play the victim and everybody pour you, or if you're healing and continue to move on and shed everything that needs to be shed and close those wounds and being able to really move to the next level. So you have to be cautious with that. Now, one of the hardest things is redefining your identity when your old roles no longer fit. I'm going to share this one again, and I think it's a good, I would say, a good story as well. So when I lost everything, and the condo was the cherry on the top of the cake on this one, I was speaking up because, unfortunately, people have radars and listen when there is a fire, there is this and that. You get people who's going to be coming back and not even, like we said, the bodies are not even cold, that they already are in the house, stealing everything they can steal. That's what they did, okay? And not once, but several times. And lying from we had the board of director who lied and did not even told everybody. He told only one or two person. He was a ding dong, this one, because, one or two. No. They didn't want to one or two of the condos. They went everywhere. And realizing what was happening, and I'm glad the restoration company told me the truth because I had no idea. So I had to go back, and I wasn't mentally ready because it's very difficult when you go back to a place where you go every single day. This becomes your mission. You're not working, you're just spending your time in the rubbles, figuring out what you're going to do with your own self, with everything else. And it was very interesting, actually, when I was there. I went and I had all of luckily, thank God for that, when they went into the garage and stole a few things from me, they did not realize at the end, because it was such everywhere, that I had all of my paperwork into a cabinet, a file cabinet I brought back downstairs, or that got brought back downstairs because that was all in there in other plastic bins. So I brought them back to where I was staying, and I was sitting down and I said to myself, well, I have all of those paperworks. I don't need them at this point. I'm not, you want to travel light. So I basically started to go through all of those, and I basically got rid of everything that you needed. So I only had a small plastic container where plastic file. Then I will carrying the rest of it. One of the hardest part was, and this is at that time that you realize your identity is gone. You are going to mourn and do what I call the funeral of your own self. And that is the time that I got all of those papers, and they had outside a place where you could burn stuff. So I brought my papers at one stack at a time, and went there, light up the fire, and started to bring them. And this is where I started to cry, because I was doing the funeral of who I was up to that point. All of the decades, who I was gone. And this is where you realize, who am I now? Because I am not that person anymore. This is gone. My life is gone. I am now here, and I need to continue to move forward, but who am I? And this was the hardest part, I think, of the entire process that happened. It wasn't the burning of the condo, the loss of my place. It wasn't the loss of everything. It was my identity. Who I was gone. And a lot of people don't understand that, because when you mourn who you were and realize, I'm doing the funeral of my life, where I was is not anymore. I am brand new. I am reborn. I am someone else. Who am I? And this is where you're going to start to rebuild your identity slowly but surely. But you have to let go of the old that doesn't fit you. That house is not mine. That place where I was is not mine. The business and the way I run my business is not mine anymore. The dogs are still mine. Yay, yippee-ki-yay. Good for me. But who am I compared to who I was? All of those habits and routines and everything are gone out of the window. It is time to redefine who I am. And that's part of the process. That's part of the healing process. But you need to mourn your own self. You need to do the funeral of your own self. And mine was through those papers. Then I was crying. And it's not that I was forcing it. I was pouring. I was crying. And I was realizing it's my funeral. It's who I was. Now, finding the hope in small wins and quiet strengths helped a lot. It's not the big wins. It's every day you're grateful. You're thankful. Every day you thank God, the universe, the big kahuna, for where you are, for what you have in your life. Not looking in the past and say, oh my God, this, blah, blah, blah. It's where you are today. And the smaller win could be maybe one of your dog come and say hello to you. Maybe a friend will drop off something. Maybe somebody's going to thank you. Maybe you're going to have a small breakthrough about something. But those are what you have to do. Hope is the essence within ourselves that helps us every day. We'll not be here without hope. And this is so true. I have learned this more in 2023 because you don't, until you go through, and I don't wish this on anyone, go into the abyss of darkness, not hit rock bottom, you still have a bottom, you can kick in, go back up. But the entire abyss of darkness where you don't know what's up, down, everything is darkened. And understand that hope, without hope, you've got nothing. Hope is that flame within us. So finding hope in small wins is so powerful. And it could be just sitting down and being present and looking at the rest of the world, seeing the birds, watching the trees, looking at Mother Earth right now, even now, where all of the plants are coming out of the ground, and seeing how they're growing, seeing how the beauty of the world, taking the time to really be present in our lives. That's what you learn. So, it's being able to being seen, encouraged, and equipped to keep moving. What do? Again, you do have resources around you. You can, again, if you go on YouTube, there is a lot of things on YouTube that can help you. Rebuilding your life is not a race. Every step in the middle matters, because if you miss those steps, if you ignore those steps, you're never going to be done healing. And that's the process. It's watching ourselves after growing through everything, is watching ourselves being rebuilt. God will tear us apart and will rebuild us in a different way. And that's amazing. It's not fun to do and go through a process. It's a pain on the butt at some level. But at the end of the day, you look at yourself to where you were before everything crash and burn to where you are, and see the amazing transformation. And that, to me, is one of the biggest things that matters the most. And nobody will talk about it because nobody wants to talk, oh, you're healing, blah, blah. But the process to go in the middle is, I think, quite powerful. And realizing at the end, when you look back and see the strengths, see how you change and evolve, seeing what other skill sets come out of you than you don't even know you had, the resilience, the invisible faith, and the hope. Everything's going to work out for me. Everything is working out for me. It is working out for me. Miracles. Becoming the observer. Ask the universe, I need this today. I need some help for this. I need some for that. And also then things coming to show up the way it's supposed to be. You'll be amazed. Become the observer. Ask the support of the universe, God, everybody, whomever you believe in, to give you help, to bring you the support you need. You don't have to do it alone. You have the support of the universe. You have that invisible support who will bring perfect synchronicity, serendipity in your life. And you have that physical support you can have from people who will come out of the cold, people who you don't even know existed will come in your life, and really understanding the process and try to appreciate it. I know I said the word appreciate it. Oh my goodness gracious. So you can rebuild your life, but you have to go through the middle, and the middle is so important. Do not try to skip it, because if you skip it, you're not going to heal and it's not going to go anywhere. But this was our podcast for today, and I wanted to share that and my story, because the story that I went through, I think it's really is going to be helpful for people to know. It's not for the pleasure to, oh well, it's me. It's really giving you some of the insight. I went through it. So for people who are in the middle of it, who are going to go in there, who exit from it, might have some similarity of what I've been through. And that's what it's all about. All my love, guys, and we'll talk to you later. Bye now.
Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe Podcast.
Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here?
Emma's Universe Podcast. Universe Podcast.